Hi everyone, it's Nat here. Hope you're all doing well. I am on to do my design team project for Whichcraft Do You Do for October. Just got a little project for today and I will be using their Bits and Pieces set 8. Now what I have done is just printed out the blue bits and pieces from that kit, and they're all here and they are beautiful. So like most of their kits, they print them out in all the different colours, which is so cool. Makes it really easy to mix and match pieces between the kits, which I love. So I want to use these, but I might grab some other pieces from some of the other Bits and Pieces kits too. It's weird saying I might grab some bits and pieces from the Bits and Pieces kits. Anyway, so that's what I'm planning on doing. So now I had an idea. I was keeping a whole lot of pamphlets that come in the post and that, so I went looking for them and couldn't find them. So I thought I wasn't going to use them and got rid of them. But I managed to find one. So I want to use it to make a pocket that will flip out from the page. Now I'll be able to make two with this, I think. Now you can cover it while it's in one piece like this, but I'll cut it down to the two pockets, I think, and then cover it, just to make it a bit more manageable for myself. So I'm just going to grab my mat here. I might just grab my knife. This will make it easier to get it straight. I'm just going to use the lines on my cutting board here. And I will cut it at that line. So we've got our two pieces there. Now what I might do is make one flip out one way and one flip out the other way, so you can put them on whichever page in your journal you want. So we want it so it sort of sticks down, and then we'll be able to flip out the pocket like that. And this one will stick down and we'll flip out the pocket that way. I think that's what we're doing. Yep, that's what we're doing. So that will make this the front, and then we'll have writing spot on the inside, and then you could cover the back, but I'm not going to because I'll probably stick that down to the page. So what I want to use is, I've got my blank fly book pages for the writing space inside, and I've just got some vintage German pages here to cover it otherwise. So I know we will need a page for each one and an extra page or two for the front. So 4 pages to be safe. So firstly, I might do, I've got to try and remember what I'm doing here. Oh, what I like to do is cover the inside of the pocket, because we'll put a thumb notch, and you'll see some of the text behind there. But I just cover the whole inside of the pocket. It also makes it a lot more sturdier as well. So we'll use some of the text page to do that with first. So that's going to fit about like that. So I just want to rip some of the excess off. So we'll stick that down first. So it's a bit crooked here, but I will just cut it down. That's pretty good, so I'll leave that to dry, and I will do the same with the other one. and bring the first one back. Now I want to recreate the fold that was in it. So what I'll do is use my ruler as well, just to get it nice and tight fold in there. So that one goes on like that. Yep. And that seems to fit in there quite nicely to fold over still. I'll just trim it down a tiny weeny bit because I can see the paper sticking over the edge. So in here we want writing space, so we'll do that next. So I'll just grab some of this that fits. That looks like it's going to fit quite well. So again, I just want to rip the excess off, or most of the excess off. And then with this, we'll cut it into halves to stick it down by the looks. Yep. So I'm just going to use my pencil here to put a line just there. Just there. Now hopefully this is going to fit all right. Put the straight line in there, and that one's straight enough to put. Yep, that'll do. And cut the edge off if it sticks over a bit. So now what we'll do is cover this piece. Make sure it still folds over. Then we need to cover this piece. Just to double check that that's, yeah, this piece is what we've got to cover. Don't get confused now. Okay, so this will be our pocket. It'll sit on the page like that, so when you flip open, you can write on it. Now I might cut this down just a little bit more, I think. It's a bit longer over this side now with our fold, but if that bothers you, you can cut it off, which we might do. I think I've made that a bit long too. A bit better. Yeah, much better. So that makes this the front piece. So we want to cover that as well, and we'll cover that with a bit of book page also. Could put the title on now, though we probably won't see most of it afterwards, but that's all right, why not? edges have I? Stuck together a bit. Doesn't matter that that's ripped. It's just because I got some of the glue overhanging. But that's going to be the inside of our pocket, so you won't notice that much. Okay, I think I have trimmed everything I need to trim. So now what you want to do is do your little thumb notch on the front cover. So I'm just using my 1 3/8 inch punch. Just try and get it somewhat centered. And there's a nice little thumb notch, and you've got the book page backing the inside of the pocket there, which looks nice. So now, before we go further, you might want to add a bit of ink. So I just have some walnut stain here. Now, just debating, do I want to cut that down? I mean, it doesn't matter too much, but we might make it sort of even if I can. That's a bit better. So you don't have to worry about this side. If you wanted to, you could cover that and make this like a floating pocket or one that you slip over a page. But I want to stick these in and be able to flip the pocket out. So that's why I'm not bothering covering that one side. So I just go around all the edges with some ink. So we end up with this. It'll sit like that. Be able to slip a tag or a journal card in, and it will open up and we'll have some writing space there. So the next thing I want to do with this is sew. So what I will do is cover the other one that we're doing in the same method, except that will flip out the other way. So when I sew, I'm going to go along there, down there, and along there and down there. And then I'll close it up and sew this side and along there. And that will finish off these panels because I want to sew around each of the panels, if that makes sense. Because if we close it up first and then sew along there and there, we're not going to have a pocket, obviously. So that's why I'll do these bits first and then just sew it together on these two bits. And then I'll also sew around this one, so all the sewing will be done then. So I've done the first bit of sewing here. So this will be our front. As you can see, I've sewed along the top and then down this edge. And then along the top there and down this edge. And that's of the pocket piece. So what I do is, sometimes people like to leave the threads, which I do sometimes. It just depends on the type of project I'm doing. Sometimes I back stitch, but a lot of the time when I back stitch, I get big knots on the other side. It's a me problem, I think. I don't think it's the sewing machine. But the other thing you can do is go to the back of your stitching, and because we're closing this off, I don't mind having a couple of little knots in here. And if I lift up the thread on this side, it pulls on the thread on the other side, and I can see where I can loop my little pokey tool and pull this thread through to this side. And then I'll just tie a double knot with both the strings to finish it off. And it's a nice, neat way of finishing it off if you don't want to leave long threads or you don't want to back stitch. So I do this a fair bit. It does take a bit of time and it's a little fiddly, but then I just snip it off. So I'll do that with each end of my stitching. So now that I've finished tying off my threads, it's nice and neat in there. We can close up our pocket now. So for that, we just want to add some glue here and there. And that will close our pocket over like that. Now I am sewing this, so you don't have to add glue. You could just sew, but I like to do both. So that will be our pocket nice and closed. With this one, what I have to go back and do now is sew down there, along there. So it'll be open when I do that. And I'll finish off these edges, which will in turn finish those edges off. And I'll also sew a full square around this one, and then all the panels will be sewn. I must have forgotten to hit the record button, so I lost some of my footage. Sorry about that. But what I did was search my fussy cut book images for a floral and a bird picture. I also chose a few postage stamps and a few other paper embellishments I have hanging around. Then, of course, I found some of the gorgeous bits and pieces from set 8 of the same name to decorate my pockets with after I'd finished sewing them. So now I'm just inking all the edges of all my ephemera pieces before I stick them down. So now we can stick these down. Now I think I will cut this one down a bit so it fits and we can still see our book page title there. Just re-ink that. Yeah, that fits a bit better. This glue is oozing. This glue never oozes. Although, I don't know if I've used it in the summer previously, so it's quite warm in here today. Must have to fill up the bottle. They tend to ooze more when they're not filled up very much. Which way does it go? I'm going to put it that way. Probably doesn't really matter. So that was nice and easy, wasn't it? So you can do some stamping or some stenciling in here as well. Some stenciling might look nice, but I worry about that when I figure out where I'm going to put them. So these are the 2 flip pockets that I have done. As I said, I've left them blank on the back so they can be stuck in, and when you stick them down you could just stick the 3 sides and create a pocket behind, But they're a little bulky as they are, so I'd probably stick them down properly and just have the pocket in the front here. So we still need to make some tags or something for our pockets. Maybe even a bit of nice note paper that's got the blue colours or some birds on or something would be lovely in those. And then they flip open and you've got your writing space. So I did try a few of these the other day and I've got them here. So, and I did the same. These ones, the pamphlet piece I had went differently so that I could put a full piece of paper across here as the note paper. But they sit like that. They don't sit as well though because that is the one piece rather than being cut down there. So when you fold it, it's a bit bulkier, so they don't quite sit as flat as what these ones do. So really it's almost better to have your cut down the middle there. So they're my pockets. Thank you very much to the ladies at Whichcraft Do You Do for the awesome kits. I love those bits and pieces kits. So this is number 8. There are a whole lot of others beforehand, obviously, and they've got heaps of pages, all sorts of different colours too. So great fun to have on hand when you're doing any sort of project. So there's also a code for you, which is Nat 2023, where you can get 15% off of any digitals at Whichcraft Do You Do. So the links will be down below. So go and check them out. Have fun, and I will see you again soon. Bye.